Welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. We're going to try to make some progress on getting this old Sportster back together. I think we're going to start out with the front wheel first, and from there we'll just see how far we can get. So let's get busy. Well, 2 seconds into our video and I'm already telling lies. I'm going to get these risers and bars on first, then we'll get the wheel on. If you have a really old bike like this, these bushings that go in here for the handlebars are not a bad idea to replace them. These were actually off that Softail that we just finished on the channel. I ended up using solid mount risers on that, but these were in pretty good shape, pretty new, so I'm going to reuse them here. They really make a difference with how your bars feel. Now, we did polish up our risers here. They look a little better. They're still kind of rough. And we also replaced our hardware for the top up here on the top clamp, just to try to freshen all this up a little bit as best we can. Our top clamp and bars, if you saw it in the earlier videos, they are black powder coated. And a lot of times I'll go in and paint that stuff, but the powder coat is just not that bad. It's only got a few spots I'll touch up. And I really hate to sandpaper down perfectly, we'll call it decent powder coat, to replace it with rattle can. It's just, you know, the rattle can looks good right away and I use it a lot, but it just doesn't last like that powder coat does. No way. If I could do this without dropping everything, that would be a Festivus miracle. This is where having friends helps, unless you're like me and you don't have any. Boy, these are just not wanting to go in. What is my problem? This should be pretty basic. Oh, and when you're doing stuff like this, up here on these bars especially, you won't always be able to do it depending on the situation, but just in my opinion, it's good to get this stuff done first before you put your fancy shiny gas tank on, because it is easy to drop stuff and you just don't want to drop it on your tank. I think it goes without saying. Now, one suggestion I do have for this, and you don't have to do it, it's just the way I do it, but is I don't like to overly tighten this stuff yet and Loctite it. Get the bike down on the ground, get a good feel for it, kind of know where your hand positioning is, just to kind of help you make that decision. That way you're not moving everything around, because you got to move your controls to just about everything. But if you do that, just don't forget to tighten them up later. Just don't want to forget it. All right. Well, at least we got something on there. That's a start. Well, guys, I fibbed again. We're not on the front wheel just yet. I noticed that we've got a dang oil leak. And it is on the oil tank, which is usually an easy fix because it's usually lines or clamps. So earlier, a couple videos ago, I went through and replaced a bunch of clamps, replaced some of the lines as needed. And actually, no, I'm sorry. I did not replace any lines, but I went in and replaced a lot of clamps. None of the main lines are leaking, but that guy down there, if I can get my finger down there, you can see it. Where that goes into the oil tank, the drain, was leaking. And I guess it was leaking slow enough that I didn't see it until later on. But I've already got a new line on it. You can see right here. Luckily, I already had one. And I think with the oil tank pulled out, you can see I've got it just kind of hanging out like that. I think I can get a ratchet down in there and get a really good clamp on it, because quite frankly, the little clamp that was on it from the factory was pretty weak. So we'll get that squared away. Glad I noticed it. Glad I had the oil in there to see it. Of course, I had to drain that quart of oil. That's fine. We'll get this squared away and then we'll get right back on that wheel. Well, normally when I do this, I use a floor jack, or I lift the bike up more on this jack, and then I use a floor jack to lift it in place. But let's see if I can just do this right here. I'm probably just going to cause myself another problem. Well, that's a good start. Did I get it? I think I did. Well, I thought I got it. All right, I think we got it. We'll just torque her down. Our front wheel's all mounted up. I want to show you guys this. So a few videos back when we cleaned up our wheels, we pulled this little cover off. These are on here for the single disc models. These basically cover up mount holes to mount another rotor on the side for dual disc. all we did, I think we hit it with some it's like a chrome spray paint or aluminum, but it matches back to the wheel pretty good. And then we put this cheap hardware in there. It is stainless. Now don't buy cheap stainless hardware like that to hold your brake rotor on. I don't even know if it would take the torque that it needs. But for this, it's perfectly fine. Just did a little Loctite. But just kind of shows you, how you can dress this stuff up and make it look a lot better. I always love getting parts back on the bike. Assuming, of course, everything goes on like it's supposed to, right? Of course, if you got any hidden problems, this is usually when you're going to notice it, is when you start putting stuff, back together. Usually the case. Always the little hidden things that you had no idea about. Our hardware, though, for this front caliper is still in good shape, though. So it's got that going for it. Well, I just learned about 5 minutes ago that our throttle assembly here that was on the bike when we got it, now this is aftermarket and it's for a single cable. It ain't even going to work because the threads here don't match the threads on our cable, and this is the stock style cable for this year bike. Now, I could probably try to find a way to make it work, but I'm not going to fool that. We're just going to go get something else for here. I do have it on here now just for reference to mount this up because I want to get this on because we need to work on that pressure switch for the brake. And also, if you're new to this build series, or if this is the first video you've seen in it, this bike did not have any switch housings. That's why they're not on here. And I was not about to go rewire all those up and buy them. That's why we wired it the way we did. If it were me, if it were my bike, and I was going to keep it, and modify it and do a lot of stuff to it, I would personally probably go aftermarket. But I don't know. Have you priced that stuff lately? I looked at some stuff and I was like, nope. There's no way I'm spending that much money on this bike. So we're going to go with these. These work. I mean, you can run these without the switch housings in there. They just look a little, they look a little bulky and odd. But you know what? For the purpose of this bike, I think it'll be all right. We're just going for what works at this point. I do need to actually loosen probably and pull that brake line down a little bit. But this cable is a hair on the long side. I might need it to stay like that. It's not too bad though. So for our front brake light, we got these two wires hanging off here. This is why we didn't finish this loom yet. So when we get done with this, we'll do that. So these two are going to go down to the caliper. Now what I'm going to do, I've got this zip tied here because I haven't mounted the tank up yet, we're going to put our tank obviously right here, and we'll tuck these wires up above these mounts. And then what you want to make sure of is when you're doing something like this, that you want to have your bars. In this case, I've got my bars all the way that way or to the right if you're sitting on the bike. That'll be the longest point that I need. I need to get this clutch cable out of the way. That would probably help. So what I'll do, I'm going to run this down the brake line. Now this will all be loomed. It won't just be, blue wires exposed. We'll probably go right about there. And you just want to make sure you get the right movement you need out of your bars so you don't yank a wire out, because that wouldn't be fun, especially if you lose a brake light. And of course, when you go this way, the wires will stay up like that, and you've got plenty of slack this way, but they'll still be tucked away because you want the wires to move like they should, but you also don't want them to be showing, so it's kind of a good balance. So for down here, we got us a brake pressure switch. It's this guy right here. Hope you guys can see it. Hope I'm holding it up right. There's maybe a better picture of my fingers may be in the way. But what this does is it actually replaces the banjo bolt that goes in here. It's pretty slick. So make sure you get the right size of these if it's going to be on your caliper versus master cylinder, because you can get them for both. And it's a really nice way to kind of tuck away your wiring if you don't have these switch housings on your handlebars. You still have to, of course, run these down the lines and get creative like that, but it is a good option. I've ran these before. I ran these on a chopper many years ago when I was first into riding, and it worked pretty well. I actually, on my chopper, I only had one of those on there for the rear brake only, because I didn't even think about putting one on the front on the caliper, because I wanted my bars to look good, right? So I rode around with just a brake light on the rear. So I was always making sure I was hitting the rear brakes, even though you only use 30% of your rear brakes, if that. Oh, good, that broke loose. I was kind of afraid that was going to be way too tight. And of course, I will have to re-bleed these. That's fine. It gives me something to do, right? Boy, there's a lot coming out. I was hoping it wouldn't be that messy. All right, where's this line wanting to go? I don't want brake fluid everywhere. There we go. So we'll get this switch ready and we'll throw this sucker on there. Okay, we're going to throw this switch on real quick. You see I already loomed it up just to make it a little easier. We're looming up this wire on the bike. Of course, don't forget your new crush washers on there. If I can do this without making a mess, that would also be good. I didn't even test to see if this would, yes, it's threading in. It's doing what it should do. These things are pretty slick though. It's just a good option. Whoa, should have thought about that. Make everything fly over on me. All right, that should do it right there. We're pretty clean too. I'll just get the, like I said earlier, the fun of the excitement of rebleeding. And then what I'll do here, you can see how this one comes up like that. This will also be, of course, zip tied as best as possible. We will combine these two wires here after I measure, 800 times to make sure I'm not cutting them too short. And then we'll just run that right on up the wire and loom it, and it should look pretty good, pretty slick whenever we're done. Here's a close-up look before we solder on everything. You can see we got the little harness coming off of the brake pressure switch. It'll just go up here and we'll just attach, cut our blue wire, solder there, and then we'll loom it all the way up through there for a nice clean look. And then one of these wires right here is going to go to 12 volt and the other one's going to go to the brake light. Well, my neighbors are outside yelling at each other like they tend to do. I don't think you guys can hear it, but one of these days I'm going to go out there and just start randomly yelling myself. I mean, everybody else is doing it. Why not? And let's check my measurements here on the wire. It's going to run up through there. Of course, we got to loom it up. Before I loom it, let's make sure. I think we're in good shape. I think that's going to work. So we'll just get it loomed up, zip tied away, and that should do it for some of the front end as well as the front brakes. Looming we will go. Well, I guess we're not going anywhere, but we will be looming though. Boy, and it is, one thing I will say, it is hard to loom two wires. There's just not much to grab a hold of. I do believe that is going to look pretty good. There's always a strategy that even makes sense in doing this. Yeah, I reckon we'll go with this. Boy, yeah, it's tough to get to this though. Whew, man, it's getting hot in here. I think springtime is getting here way too soon. Needs to slow down a little bit. Okay, I think we are officially done looming wires on this motorcycle. Unless I have to tear into them, which is always a possibility, but that is good. I think we can all agree that zip ties hold the world together. Well, because of that whole pesky hindsight thing, it would have been better to have a black brake line, but still functional, still neat and clean. It's still going to do the job we need it to do. And up here, we got everything done. Now, we did leave ourselves with just a tiny bit of slack right here, but the bars right now are all the way to the right. So this is as tight as it'll be. And this right here has just a little bit of slack, which is good. And this isn't binding with anything. This clutch lever assembly here is actually new, because the one that came on it was black, so it didn't match the master cylinder. So naturally, I went to Amazon and ordered literally the cheapest one they've got. You search for it and you sort by price, lowest first, right? Always the right way to do it. Buyer beware, right? I didn't want to replace the, I'd actually prefer black controls on this bike, but I didn't want to replace the master cylinder because number one, I would have to bleed the master cylinder. So a little laziness there. Number two, they just cost more, and I wasn't about to go with a cheap master cylinder. Even though what's on it's probably cheap. There, got it started. Well, without having the switch housings on here, it's kind of a guessing game as far as where you want to put these. Well, they're clamping down good. That's good. I think that's going to work. I think we got a winner there. Hopefully, we'll find out, right? Well, we got our little throttle assembly in. That's good. I also suspect this cable's way too long. I think it's like 5 inches off. I don't know what I was thinking when I measured for it. And that's a shame because I think I'm outside of the return window, but I just don't want it looking that bad. It's pretty bad. I think I'm going to have to get an idle cable for this because I was just going to run just the throttle cable. So if I have to, I'll probably just, bite the bullet and buy another cable. I don't want to put 2 cables on there. They're too long. That would make no sense. And our throttle sleeve. And I'll put the grip on this sleeve once I know it works, in case I got to return it. The good old Amazon. That's right. Oh yeah, that cable does look too long. Oh well. Lesson learned. Just when you think you got it all figured out, right? Yeah, I think this does need the idle cable. It's not gonna, it ain't gonna function right. Dang it. It's just more money, right? Boy, this is some weak hardware though. This thing seems to work pretty good, but man, these screws are bad. Probably be a good idea to at least upgrade these to some Allen heads. It's tightening down good though. All right, well, it's on there. Oh yeah, that cable. It looks like a, yeah, it's flying out there pretty good. It's about, I would say it's about 5 or 6 inches too long. Wow. That is the stock length cable too. I thought for sure that was the right one. But I am wrong. It won't be the first nor the last, will it? Oh, look at that. We got throttlage. That's nice and crisp and smooth. That says something about that spring on that Amazon carb we bought. So we got throttle. That's going to work. Question is how will it do? I think I could actually get away with just running 1 cable. Is that bad? I'm sure the experts on the topic will come and tell me it's wrong, but don't bother because I don't listen. But I like that. So I might be able to, well, here, let me give you guys a closer look. So the throttle itself is just, that is rock solid. That's got to be the smoothest throttle I've ever had in here. So kudos to the Amazon carb spring. But my problem is that it looks like a dang basketball hoop hanging off the side. I mean, it just shouldn't, it shouldn't stick out further than the headlight. Just maybe I'm being OCD. So I think what I'll do is maybe try to pull that back some. I actually did that off camera. I pulled a little bit that way and it was still nice and smooth, so I could zip tie it back. I could also route it through here. I don't know. Should I just buy another dang cable and stop being cheap? But, cables cost money, and then I'll just end up with this one staying around in the garage for probably the next 40 or 50 years. But I don't know. I'll mess with it off camera, and if I come up with some kind of a better solve, I will definitely update you guys. And one thing I just did do off camera after I mounted this is this was actually turning on me a little bit, which is not uncommon. These screws right here are just little sheet metal screws, and if you over tighten them, you're either going to snap the head of the screw off, or you're just going to waller it out, so then you got to drill it out. So what you do is you take both these pieces, and what I did is took a flat file, and you just kind of hit it at an angle a few times. You're not filing it, you're just trying to get pieces of the metal to just kind of create burrs, or like knurling on handlebars. And when you do that, she ain't going to move, rock solid. Well, let's get her rear wheel on, see if we can't balance this bike out a little. Also managed to pick me up a nice cold or virus over the weekend, so if you hear me talking funny or hacking, now you know why. Okay, I think that'll work. Everything will just stay in place the way it's supposed to and behave. I think what am I hung on? I'm already hung on something. What in the world? Oh, I'm hung down there. There. That pesky brake caliper. All right, that's a start. Well, that's not helping me none. Stay. Oh, of course, now I got other stuff hung up naturally, and I'm just having some problems. Lots of them. All right. There. That is a start. Oh. Caliper mount's just wanting to go everywhere. I think it's because I got everything still hooked to it on the brakes. So, note to self, right? I think we got it. That's what it's doing, is this is pulling it back down. I probably should disconnect all that stuff, but why would I do that when I can sit here and fight it all day? Ooh, we're going all the way through. There it is. And there goes my front end flopping over. Should have known that. All right, I think we are on. Get our sprocket on here. And once we get our chain cut to length and get it mounted up, we can lodge something in between these teeth and the chain. Get this thing torqued down. If I can get the nuts started. What is the problem? There it goes. Get our chain on and get it mocked up. See what we got to remove. I can do this without making a holy mess. Or not a mess, but causing problems. Now the old one is about 4 full lengths shorter than this one, which is good because I can cut the lengths. But we don't want to assume that that's what I got to do, because I don't want to cut it too short and then have a problem. It's looking like 4 might actually do it. All right, I pushed this back pretty good, or hammered it back. I think we're going to have to remove the 5. I do believe, because what we're doing, we're still obviously way loose, and we're just going to run out of adjustment. So let me start this back over. We're going to do it with 5 links and see where that gets us. Well, I think we got a plan now. Emphasis on think, right? And sorry for the nasal sound. It's getting worse as the day goes on, but that's part of it. So I think we're going to do six full links to cut out. I was going to do 5. The 6 kind of gets our adjustment right here towards the front. The reason you want to do that is these chains will stretch, at least they should. You figure after a couple of 100 miles, somebody's probably going to have to go in here, or they might have to do a little tightening on it. And I don't want them to run out of adjustability on it. So let's get this chain off here, get out the grinder, and start doing some cutting. There. Let's see if our measurements worked here. And you saw I cut that without a chain breaker. You don't have to have a chain breaker to cut it. Just get you a punch and a hammer after you grind it flat. They'll pop out. And if they won't pop out, just get you a bigger hammer. All right. There we are, just like that. That is slick. Get our little master link at least started in here. She is on. And that's going to give us our adjustment will be on the front end, which is exactly what we want. I'll throw this master link on here or get it completed. Should be in good shape. There we go. Ready to go. Get this wheel torqued. We should be done with the wheel. We got us a piece of steel here lodged in our sprocket and chain. Let's see if we can get this to tighten on us or if I need to get something different. There we go. Of course, we can't forget our little lock screw. Probably important. Now, if you watch some of the earlier videos on this bike, this lock screw and this main nut holding this sprocket on, they weren't even snug. They weren't even hand tight. They were just on there. They were just present. It's so good, or so good. I'm so lucky that I didn't lose something when I was test driving it. There we are. We should be good now. Boy, this old chain guard has seen better days. We did a little polishing on it, but it's got some rust on it. I guess it matches the bike pretty good then, doesn't it? Cleaned up our shocks about the best we could. I think they're going to look all right. Sometimes a little polish goes a long way. Sometimes, not always. Okay, let's see if I'm going to need to move anything on my swing arm to get this started, or if I'm going to have to lift this whole section up. Oh, perfect. I think we got it. Oh, wait a minute. Forgetting parts. Make sure nothing's hitting. That's the main thing. I think we are good. All right. Tighten her down, I guess. We'll pretend like we're torquing these correctly. Just pretend. That should do it. There's another one of these go grab a friend moments. Oh, where's my bolt? Don't tell me my bolt's up on the workbench. Ah! Ooh, can I hang this on here? Look at that. That was designed to hang this on there. Well, before it falls, stay put. Alrighty. That goes there. I gotta have a spacer. And of course, this is not going to go through. Oh, there it is. Sorta.
Well, I believe we got ourselves a good roller now. Starting to look like a whole motorcycle. Still got a little bit more to go, but we're getting there. Front end's all on, looking nice. Check this out, though. Talk about amateur hour. I don't know what in the world I was thinking. That's what happens when I try to wrench and film at the same time. Hopefully when I slide that over, I don't have any missing paint there. But that's what they invented paint pens for, right? We'll get that touched up. But the front end's good. Brakes are all good up there. We finished our wiring. Back here, I was actually a little worried about this wheel, to be honest, but everything seems good. Still got to get the brake blade back here, and I thought I was going to have a spacing issue down there, but everything went on like it's supposed to, so no need to worry about that. So over here, we got everything on. Chain went on good, the new chain. And then check this out. Let me show you guys this. So we worked on this throttle cable, if you remember. It was like, 3 miles too long. And now we got her just about where we want. I mean, you can see that. I think that looks pretty darn good. But look what I did. I do not recommend this, by the way. I stretched this sucker all the way back and zip tied it. It'll go right under the tank. And look at that bend. I thought for sure that wasn't going to work. But look, no matter which way you turn it, nice and perfect. And this probably has a lot to do with not having an idle cable on there, which is not, recommended. And I do not recommend doing this to your cables. You can really mess them up pretty bad. But I tried it, and it worked. I'm leaving it. No worries there. I think it's going to be good. But overall, I really like the way it's starting to look. I think I'm going to have to get it down off the jack and just kind of take some pictures of it, just kind of rolling it around. But overall, we're making good progress. So for where we go next, there's really only a couple of options at this point. We got to get our exhaust on. We're using the same drag pipes that came on it. I was going to get new heat shields for them because they had none and the pipes were discolored. I'm probably going to go ahead and do a little wrap on them. I know everybody's probably tired of me doing wrap on this channel, but it's so freaking cheap. And we're keeping that going here on this bike. I think I've got some stuff laying around here in the garage that'll do what we need to do. Once we get exhaust, well, we also got to get these little pieces on down there. Tins, we got to get the fender on the rear and the front and the gas tank. And the gas tank looks, man, it looks really, really good. And I cannot wait to see how it looks on this bike. Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now that we got us a full roller on this Sportster, we're actually really close to firing this bike off, which seems kind of amazing to me. And we've also got another one here lingering in the garage over my right shoulder that we'll be starting on next. So if you want to catch these future videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As always, I thank you guys so much for watching. We'll chat with you next time.